Okay, Chapter 7, Gwyon's Riddle Solved. A Godelic alphabet called Ogham was used in Britain and Ireland for some centuries before the introduction of the Latin ABC. Its invention is credited in the medieval Irish Book of Ballymote to Ogma Sunface, son of Breas, one of the early gods of the Godales. Ogma, according to Lucian, who wrote in the 2nd century AD, was pictured as a veteran Hercules with club and lion skin, drawing crowds of prisoners along with golden chains connected by their ears to the tip of his tongue. The alphabet consisted of 20 letters, 15 consonants, and 5 vowels, apparently corresponding to a deaf and dumb finger language. Numerous examples of this alphabet occur in the ancient stone inscriptions in Ireland, the Isle of Man, North and South Wales, and Scotland, with one at Silchester in Hampshire, the capital of the Atrebates, who took part in the Second Belgic invasion of Britain between Julius Caesar's raid and the Chaldean conquest. Claudian. Here are 2 versions, the first quoted from Bryn Mawr Jones and Riss's History of the Welsh People, and the second from Dr. McAllister's Secret Language of Ireland. BLF pronounces a V, SNHDTCQMG NG, would that be Ning, F, and R. And then we got Balafusa, N, Hudukta, K, Qua, M, G, Nig, Zjer, It will be seen that both these alphabets are Q Celt or Godelic because they contain a Q but no P. Godelis from the continent were established in southeastern Britain 200 years before the Belgic P Celt invasions from Gaul in the early 4th century BC, and it is thought that the common language of Bronze Age Britain was an early form of Godelic, as it was in Ireland. The Ogham alphabet, quoted in the Oxford English Dictionary as if it were the only one in existence, differs from both the Riss and McAllister Oghams by having MGYZR as its last line of consonants, but the Y is doubtless an error for NY, another way of spelling the GN, as in Catalone. In still another version, quoted in Charles Squire's mythology of the British Isles, the 14th letter is given as ST or ST, and an X sign is offered for P. Very good. Dr. McAllister proves that Ireland Oghams were not used in public inscriptions until Druidism began to decline. They had been kept a dark secret, and when used for written messages between one druid and another, nicked on wooden billets, were usually ciphered. The 4 sets, each of 5 characters, he suggests, represents fingers used in a sign language to form any one of the letters of the alphabet. One needed only to extend the appropriate amount of fingers of one hand, pointing them in one of 4 different directions. But this would have been a clumsy method of signaling. A much quicker, less conspicuous, and less fatiguing method would have been to regard the left hand as a keyboard like that of a typewriter, with the letters marked by the tips, the 2 middle joints, and the base of the fingers and thumb, and to touch the required spots with the forefinger of the right hand. Each letter in the inscriptions consists of nicks from 1 to 5 in number, cut with a chisel along the edge of a square stone. There are 4 different varieties of nick, which makes 20 letters. I assumed that the number of nicks in a letter indicated the number of the digit, counting from left to right, on which the letter occurred in the finger language. While the variety of nick indicated the position of the letter on the digit, there were other methods of using the alphabet for secret signaling purposes. The Book of Ballymote refers to Cos Ogham, Leg Ogham, in which the singular, while seated, used his fingers to imitate inscriptional Ogham, with his shin bone serving as the edge against which the nicks were cut. In Srong Ogham, Nose Ogham, the nose was used in much the same way. These alternative methods were useful for signaling across a room, the keyboard method for closer work. Gwion is evidently referring to Srong Ogham when he mentions, among all the other things he knows, why the nose is rigid. The answer is to make Ogham signaling easier. This is the inscriptional form of the alphabet as given by McAllister. And as you can see, there's a bunch of lines and letters. Besides these 20 letters, 5 combinations of vowels were used in the deaf and dumb language to represent 5 foreign sounds. These were I can't do all that shit, which represented respectively blah. In inscriptions, these letters were given elaborate characters entirely different from the other letters. Ka had a St. Andrew's cross, Th had a lozenge, P a piece of lattice work, F a spiral, and X a portcullis. I'll tell you what, some motherfucker's watching this, and he knows how to pronounce that shit right. Hit me up. I'll learn it. I take this to have been the finger keyboard with the vowels conveniently grouped in the center. Julius Caesar records in his Gallic War that the Druids of Gaul used Greek letters for their public records and private correspondence, but did not sign their sacred doctrine to writing, lest it should become vulgarized and lest also the memory of scholars should become impaired. Dr. McAllister suggests that Ogham alphabet, when complete with the extra letters, corresponds fairly closely with an early, still somewhat Semitic form of the Greek alphabet known as the Formello Servetii, which is scratched on 2 vases, one from Ser and the other from Ve in Italy, dated about the 5th century BC. The letters are written Semitically from right to left and begin with A, B, G, D, E. He assumes that the Greek letters used by the Druids were this alphabet of 26 letters, 4 more than the classical Greek, though they discarded one as unnecessary, and I think that he has proved his case. But did the Druids invent their finger language before they learned this Greek alphabet? Dr. McAllister thinks that they did not, and I should agree with him, but for 2 main considerations. 1, the order of the letters in the Ogham is altogether different from the Greek. One would have expected the Druids to follow the original order closely if this was their first experience of alphabetic spelling. 2, if the 5 foreign letters were an original part of the Ogham alphabet, why were they not integrated with the rest in its inscriptional form? It would have been simple to allot them nicks as follows: lines and phonetics. And why in the finger alphabet were they not spelt out with the nearest equivalent combinations of consonants, ch for k and sk and x and so on, instead of being expressed elusively in vowel combinations? That the vowel combinations are elusive is easily understood from the finger diagram above. In order to express the k sound of the Greek letter ch, the Druids used the Latin combination of c and h, but expressed this elusively as e. By reference to the 4th finger, the e digit, on which the letter C occurs, and to the thumb, the A digit, on which the letter H occurs. Similarly, I can't say it, for X, pronounce CS, they use the E digit, on which both C and S occur, but introduced this with the A digit, on which H occurs, H being a silent, merely ancillary letter in Celtic languages, and its use here being merely to form a 2-vowel combination of A and E. Th is written oi, and th is written u, because th is a shrill variety of d, as theos in Greek corresponds with the Latin deus, God, and because f is a shrill variety of f, as phagos in Greek corresponds with the Latin fagus, beech tree. D occurs on the O digit and the F on the U digit, so to differentiate th from d and f from f, and the I is made the combination vowel of O in one case and in the other. I in Irish being used as an indication of shrillness of sound. Finally, p is written ia because b, which was originally pronounced p in the Celtic languages, the Welsh still habitually confound the 2 sounds, occurs on the A digit. The I is an indication that p is distinguished from b in foreign languages. That's it.